Good morning, guys. Good morning. Oh my goodness. So, you know that little thing of me doing conscious coffee when I've only been awake for 5 minutes. This last week keeps making it where I'm awake a hell of a lot longer than 5 minutes by the time I make it over here to you guys. So I have almost already drank my first cup of coffee. I have dealt with my son this morning who needed help with work and stuff. And then I took a call, which I never take a call, but I have a Google number, which is what is on my website. And so my computer's over there going, bup, 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 and my phone's buzz, 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 just as I'm getting ready to hit live over here in my front room. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just take this. It'll be really quick, probably asking me something that I don't even deal with. And well, 30 minutes later after our very interesting call, who I don't know what the purpose actually really was out of it, but it was an interesting call. Definitely educated a gentleman on different things as far as Tantra goes. So it's interesting because this morning I woke up and from the title of my conscious coffee here, I was like, I'm freezing. I woke up in the middle of the night and I was freezing. I got home last night at like 8:30 at night and my house was so freaking cold. I was going, why is my house so cold? But I didn't think of it of last night. It was just like, the temperature just dropped outside. It's not a big deal. The heater will go kick in, right? And then, I got up in the middle of the night to get water or something, and I let the dog out in the middle of the night. I let the dog out in the middle of the night because she drank too much water. And I'm standing in my kitchen. I'm like, dang, it's so fucking cold in here. I was like, okay, well, I just got out of a nice cozy bed, right? So I ran back to my bed and got underneath the covers. And I was like, okay, it's warm. And then this morning my alarm goes off and I had it set for 7 o'clock because I was like, I'm going to get just a little extra sleep because going into this weekend, up until the 1st, it's just going to be go, 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 go. So get my sleep right now a little bit more. So a little extra sleep there. But yeah, I woke up this morning at 7 and I did not want to take my covers down. I was just like, I am so cold, it's so cold. And I'm in pajamas. And I'm just like, I am so cold. I got up, I'm making my coffee. I'm like, I'm standing there, I'm going, why is my house so cold? Why is my house so cold? So I thought, okay, I guess I'll do a conscious coffee on my house being so cold because I can definitely teach a spiritual lesson around your house being cold and how to heat things up, right? But the end of the story here is that I found out that my heater was turned off. Which, is one of those things. I was like, how the heck did my heater get turned off? So I went and I turned my heater back on. I flipped that switch and I turned my heater back on. And I remembered that on Christmas, because of all the baking that was going on and because I had made a rack of lamb and all this different stuff, that the house got really, really hot. And then we had a Nerf war with like a Nerf war fight with probably about, 30 guns or something. And, a safer sword fight. And we were just laughing and having all this fun. So, of course, the temperature with lots of people in the house was also increased with the stove being on that long, too. So the house was really warm. So I remember that I turned my heater off to try to bring the temperature in the house back to a good temperature. And my intent was to turn the heater back on, but I forgot to turn the actual switch on. And I just went on about my day doing what I was doing and forgot that I had missed a key ingredient to keeping my house warm, which was to turn my heater on. So that's a very, very blonde moment with a very powerful lesson in it. And it has nothing to do with the actual heat in my house, but it has everything to do with the fact that isn't that the way we tend to blow and go and live our lives, right? So, is the heat on in your house is the question. And if you're feeling things kind of chill out a little bit, are you comfortable with that chill out, or are you wanting to crank things back up? Are you wanting to get back in the game and really refocus? And I think that it's interesting that, like this little lesson, it goes right along with the turning of the year right now, right? So I know for myself that I've kind of felt like a chill out in different ways. The holiday is, even though I never really took a tremendous break, I did take all of Christmas off, and I didn't look at my phone, I didn't look at my computer, I didn't, you know, like I hardly even responded. I didn't even post pictures on my private Facebook, which is just my family, where grandma and grandpa are at. I did not even post Christmas pictures for grandma and grandpa. I did Christmas morning with the kids sleeping and a picture of presents underneath the tree, and I have not made it back over there yet to even share personal stuff. So I've just kind of like felt myself step back, and, you know, I did the Conscious Coffee talking about being a rubber band and the importance of retreating and pulling back so that you can, you know, fly forward. Okay, time out. My munchkin just screamed for me, and he's going to keep screaming if I don't go deal with him. So we're going to get invaded by a 5-year-old here in just a second. So give me just a second. Don't leave. Okay, and we're back. We're back, and we have a 5-year-old that needs a blanket. Okay, so yeah, so, you know, being that rubber band and pulling everything back is really important, but sometimes when we pull back, there's also this feeling of like we've turned things off, right? And in some way, potentially, we have turned things off. We have just set the tone for different things. Well, sometimes our house becomes a little chilled, a little cold, a little frigid even. And in that pullback, one of the things that we have to really, really pay attention to is that while we are trying to harmonize things, while we are trying to recreate the flow into the direction that we want, we also have to be aware that we could turn things off, and that there are things that we might want to turn back on. So if you're feeling like certain things are a little out of whack, look at your heaters, guys. Look at your heaters and see if you actually flipped a switch in a department. Now, these switches in our personal life or in our business life definitely are not going to be just switches. You know, they're not thermostats on the wall where we can go over and we can go, oh, hey, I'm going to just flip this switch. That would be awesome. That would be wonderful if we could actually do that. That's not the case. We're not going to be able to do that. But what you can do is you can feel into things. You can feel into, you can go, I'm feeling like this is kind of getting cold over here. There's not a lot of activity going on here. Do I want there to be activity here, or do I not want activity here? That's what you need to ask yourself. Yes or no on the activity, okay? So let's, you know, like this, I did this call this morning with this gentleman, and he was actually calling me for a tantric massage. That's what he was doing. He was calling me for a tantric massage, and I was like, you know, number one, I shouldn't have even answered the phone probably at 7 o'clock in the morning, but I answered the phone, and I just thought it would be a really quick call because I don't do tantric massage. I'm like, I don't do tantric massage. I don't touch my clients. I run through my whole little scheme, you know, spectrum there of like what I do and what I don't do. And in turn, I end up doing this whole discovery call and teaching the guy what Tantra is, and that, hey, sex and body work is only about 5 to 6% of Tantra and all this different stuff. So I felt like right now in that moment, I could so easily turn the switch on over here because I do have years and years experience, worked with thousands of people, done thousands of hours worth of tantric body work, you know, education and actual teaching and training on it and doing of it. I mean, I have given so many tantric massages, and I fully understand the energetics and the, you know, the actual massage portion of that, and what's good and what's bad and all this different stuff, which is why I don't do tantric massage anymore, because so many people need so much more than just the touch to actually experience what true Tantra is. But years ago, I did tantric massage. I mean, that was where my turning point was. I had a tantric massage. It opened me up to so much. I went, holy shit, I got to share this stuff. I've got to, like, I need to help other people. So I went and I learned, and I worked with people on that. But it's not a door that I want to open. So it's cold over here, which every now and then the heat gets, you know, the outside temperature goes and says, hey, I'm over here. And I go, do I want to ever do that again? Do I want this in my life right now? Do I want to open this door? Do I want to flip the switch? Yes. To on here, am I a yes to this? I'm a no to this. So I keep the switch turned off over here, right? And I just state, hey, no, I'm sorry, I turned that off. No, I'm sorry, I turned that off. I teach classes on it. I have online workshops on it. You can come to my local workshop on it. I'll teach you and your wife a few great, cool things in an intimacy session, but I am not laying my hands on you. So that is, you know, like that is it. The switch is off, right? Then there are other areas where your switch might, and I mean, I'm using, of course, myself in this. That's a definite off switch for me. And then I've got my on switches, which is working with, you know, small business owners, which is entrepreneurship, law of attraction, abundance, prosperity, really just getting in the flow and cranking your shit out to have that fuck yes life, right? And that is like, that's my on switch. So there is the things where you apply your focus to. It's like, okay, well, that's where my focus is going. My focus is over here on this, and that's where I'm going to apply my focus. So keep that switch on. But guess what? Sometimes when we flip one switch, we might accidentally hit the other switches, or a couple of them as we move through things. So you might have to go back and you might have to look and readjust and say, hey, I hit the switch on, I wanted the off on this, but over here, I didn't mean to hit the off on that, or I was just trying to cool things down a little bit because that became too much. I couldn't balance that in my life. I really couldn't take it on. I had too many plates spinning at the same time, so I had to set some on the back burner. I set some on the back burner. That was on the back burner. Now I want it on the front burner. You actually have to go in and ask yourself, did I turn this off? Is it on? Why am I feeling like this? What's going on here? And make the conscious decision to apply the focus, the energy, the emotion, the time, okay, the action, so thought, feeling, action, to whatever the things are that you might feel like you want to turn back on, right? So if you want it turned on, then turn it the fuck on. If you want it turned off and it's off, leave it the fuck off. Not too hard, right? Except we kind of get caught up because we start feeling these voids in our life. We feel this chill in our life, which is the void, right? When the space starts to form, then all of a sudden things start to change for us, and we're like, what's going on? So what do? We tend to want to fill that void. And when we're filling that void, sometimes we try to fill that void with things that are not needed, and we start to activate old patterns, old desires, old things into our life. So we reach out and we try to turn on something, but we don't really mean it. We don't really mean it. So then we're just fucking around with the energy. But if we're fucking around with somebody else's energy, that's one thing, bad us. But then there is the true issue here is that we're actually messing around with our own energy when we are reaching back into our past and trying to pull something forward that we don't really want. So it's really, 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 really important as you're going, hey, why is this so cold over here? Do I want to activate this? Do I want to activate this? I think that we get very, very caught up in the moment. You know, yesterday I was talking about Alice in Wonderland and somebody telling me that I'm a lot like Alice in Wonderland and all that stuff. And you know, and the whole inquiry there and the curiosity there. So we get caught up in the moment. Alice is very present. She gets caught in that moment. But at that same time, it is important to notice, do I want to activate this? Because you can just go with the flow and you can be in the moment, but you have to be at the same time conscientious and cautious as to what you are activating and if you want to activate it or not. Example. I should give an example. I feel like there's an example there, and then I go, do I want to share the example? All right. So example, I went over the summer. I went and I had drinks with an old friend of mine, and actually, here we go. I had drinks just last night with an old lover of mine, and now fantastic friend. I love this man dearly. We have known each other for like 9 years. Been intimate for a lot of those 9 years. He's moved states. He's, you know, I've been out of the country, all this different stuff. And we've had a beautiful, beautiful experience just in our friendship and in our relationship. And we have a very good, close relationship. But every time he comes back into town, every time I have to ask myself, you know, as much as I love him, do I want to keep this activated? Do I want to keep this relationship, attention to it applied there? Because people change, life moves on, different things happen. So like last night, we had talked about going out for drinks earlier in the week when he got into town, and I was like, well, Thursday I could do that. He's like, Thursday might work for me. Let me see if I have this party to go to. So we met and we had drinks, and it's one of those things that there was a conscious decision on my part that I was remaining active with this person in my life, that I was keeping this relationship alive. Now, yes, you're like, well, he's your friend, he's an old lover. If you love each other, why wouldn't you keep that relationship alive? Now, I have another old relationship that keeps trying to knock at my door. Another old lover, very similar situation. We've known each other for about 7-8 years, a little bit less, was intimate for not that much of that time frame. He has been knocking at my door, begging for me to reactivate this for a good 6 out of the 7-8 years. Okay, and he just keeps knocking and knocking and knocking, and who knows, he'll probably see this. I'll be like, yeah, that was to you, buddy. And fantastic guy, love him to death. I actually really like him a lot, and I care about him, and I want the best for him. It's just that our energy, and I know that our energy is not good for each other. So as much as I love and care and had great conversations and great sex and great food shares and had all these like that, really learned and everything, there's an energy there that I know is not healthy for myself. Therefore, if it's not healthy for me, how can it be healthy for him, right? So I'm not doing anybody a favor by trying to activate that relationship again, right? Because the flow is not, he might be getting the like, hey, yeah, I've got Kendal at my side and I might get her in bed and I might this and I might blah 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 blah, all his wishful thinking over there. But I'm not wanting it. So if I'm not wanting it at my core, why would I say yes to it? Just to appease him, just to not be a bitch and go, sorry, no, I'm still a no? Well, that's not being a bitch. That is actually just being truthful. No, I'm not wanting it. That is just where I'm at. I love you. I'm going to love you from a distance. Does not mean that we have to keep a relationship going. Although he just keeps knocking on that. It's like he is just amazing at that. 6 freaking years. He contacts me like 3-4 times a week. Text, email, fills out my applications, I tell you. All right, crazy man. But then I have that other relationship. So one, a yes, one, a no. What is it? Both could be, I could have both of these turned off, but is a conscious decision to keep one turned off and keep one turned on. Now, I have had points with my relationship that I have on where I flipped the temperature way the crap down, and we went 4 or 5 months without talking, and then all of a sudden then I turned the temperature back up on it because I'm needing to deal with different things in my life, and then I come back, I'm like, hey, how are you? Or he comes back from stuff that's going on in his life, hey, how are you? Let's get together, let's do this, let's do that. And that is the same thing that we're going to face in our health, in parenting, in shit, just in keeping your house clean. Some days you keep your house clean, you could turn that off switch on there and end up with a disaster zone. Well, I end up with a disaster zone because I have so many kids, but I end up with that disaster zone, and then you got to turn it back on. This is the conscious decision of if you want to turn something on or off. How do you want to deal with any particular on-off switch in your life? And the truth is that look at what your boundaries are, what your core desires are, what your wants are, and if it is in alignment to who you are. Because sometimes your wants, your desires are not in alignment to who you are. You might really like let's take the guy that's been knocking at my door for the last 6 years. All right, he's got a lot going on for him. If I, and I'm a single woman, maybe I want to add something back into my life. Well, I don't, but if I did, if I was needy in some way, it would be a temptation, right? It would be temptation. So maybe I would have a desire. Maybe I have a desire for more men in my life, more masculine energy, more sex, more turn on, more whatever, right? More of just that stuff that women get from guys, from that emotional, physical aspect. If I wanted that, that would be a great big temptation there. It would be knocking at my door. My desire would then be reaching out, and it would be met with this. Does that mean that I necessarily want that relationship with him? No, it doesn't. It still means I don't want the relationship with him. So why would I open up the door to a relationship just because my desire is like, hey, I really want this, I really want this, I'm hungry to this, I'm hungry to this, just to go have a little sample and end up with an avalanche of shit from it because I went and did something hasty that wasn't in alignment to myself, that was not beneficial to self or to him in the long run. Why would I do that? Yes, think about it. Think about it. And here's the true point. So often what we do is that right there. We jump through the doorway and we jump into these situations because we are so hungry, because our desire is so high that we don't stop and pause and say, hey, do I really want this? Is this truly in alignment to who I am and where I'm going and who I want to be? Or is this really going to just create an avalanche of crap into my life that I've got to then go spend the next however long dealing with? Because if we open up to something that we really don't want and we do it from a point of hunger, right? A point of, I'm so cold, I just need the heat on. We crank that heater up to 90 degrees instead of setting it where we want it, okay? Then all of a sudden, we're in a sweat box, right? And then we're like, and then we gotta crank it back down. What do? We spend all of our time adjusting our thermostat. All of our time trying to adjust our thermostat, trying to figure out exactly where we're trying to get it right and never just setting it right where we should have in the beginning. And if you just set your fucking thermostat right where you want it in the beginning, and then you let it do its work, do your work, okay, do your work, then you will achieve that result of getting to that perfect spot as to where you want to be, the right temperature, and then you can just maintain. And that is where you get into flow. That spot that you want to set, that is that flow. That is where you're just like, you're just going along. It's just good, right? And every now and then, maybe things get a little bit too hot and you have to readjust, or maybe things drop down, the temperature drops or something happens. You gotta rebalance it. But if you stick to just keeping it right there, then all of a sudden, you've got flow versus spending all your time, all your energy, all your everything on trying to figure this out and figure that out. And you're over here and you're over there. That's just a whole lot of work, wasted time, wasted energy on dealing with a bunch of shit that you don't even have to deal with. So what do you want? Flow? If you want flow, figure out where your thermostat needs to be set it there, and realize that it's not going to just, much like my house is still cold. Notice I got blanket going here, right? My house is still cold. I turned the thermostat on a whopping like 20 minutes ago. The thermostat was off since Christmas Day, okay? So it's been off a couple days. My heater's been off a couple days. My house is cold. I didn't notice because I was busy doing all the other things in life, right? I was busy running around doing all my other things, and I didn't notice. And then when I did notice, I'm like, oh shit. I did not crank up my thermostat. I set it to exactly, I just put it back. It's on auto. It's right where it's supposed to be. So my house is going to come up in its own time to that level, okay? And then it will maintain. It will maintain unless I prevent it from maintaining somehow by turning off the thermostat.
64.
It's 64 in the house. It's 64 in the house. It is 64 in the house. Thank you, baby. So look at your life. Look at where you have those thermostats cranked on too high, where you have them turned off. What temperature do you really want? What is the things that you really want in your life? Be willing to give it the time to get to that level, because it does take time. There are little things that I try to share on Conscious Coffee. I share in articles. I definitely share it in my coaching and in my workshops and everything as to how to really get in there and create, the life that you want. Because that fuck yes life is about having your thermostat set at the right temperature and just having it in that flow zone. And when you're in that flow zone, things are working for you. But realize that it doesn't just stay there. It's not going to just stay there. You are the pilot to that, okay? Unlike my thermostat, which I have set on autopilot and I don't have to look at unless somebody comes along and flips the switch, or I flip the switch, right? Unless that happens, that's on autopilot. Energy is a completely different ballgame. We set it up here, but then we have to maintain our frequency, our vibration for where we set it. which means that you don't just get to go, I'm going to have this, and that's just the way it's going to be, and then go and fuck around and have negative thoughts and not do anything, not take any action, and beat yourself up and think that you're going to get this. Because if you're vibrating down here and you're wanting stuff up here, this stuff that you're wanting is never going to come down to you. Never, 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 never. It's vibrating here for a reason. That's its frequency. It is your job to bring your vibration up to it, okay? Up to it. So you are moving towards what you want if you are applying the right thoughts, the right emotions, and the right actions to that, starting with your thoughts, okay? Starting with your thoughts. But that means that you have to take that as a moment by moment practice, not a daily practice, not an hourly practice, a moment by moment practice. That is why I focus so much in on being conscious, being present, what's going on. Are you a fuck yes? Are you a fuck no? Paying attention to what your emotions are saying, paying attention to where you're holding in your body. Do you have tension in your shoulders? Or your gut going, ugh, like that? Do you feel nauseated? Do you feel fatigued? All of these things are telling you if you are in alignment or not, okay? Because if you are not in alignment, you are not going to be at ease in your body. You're going to be with dis-ease in your body and potentially disease in your body, okay? And on top of it, you're just not going to be happy. Not that you have to be happy all the time. Multiple forms of happy. Just feel good. Feeling good is a happy place, okay? We don't have to be all ha 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 ha. I'm not talking about that. That's great. If that's you, awesome. Go, be, laughy, joy, 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 right? But to really be happy is to just feel good in your life, in your body, in your mind, in your heart space, okay? And the more you feel good, the more in alignment to the things that you want you are, and you're going like this, okay? So you set your thermostat and you get into feel good mode. Focus in on, I feel good now. I feel good now. I don't feel good now. Why? Oops. I'm flipping that switch off over here. Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. Flip that switch back on, get back into feel good. Keep moving upward, okay? Keep moving upward. Hey, Miga. Good morning to everybody on here, too. Morning, Mia. Good morning, Miga, Steve, Kimberly, Jordy, Allie, Addison. Oh, a couple others I can't scroll up to. This is so speaking to my life right now. Time for some decisions. Good, good. So, yeah. Thank you for the share, Mega. So just pay attention to where you're at. Where's your thermostat set? If your house is a little cold, if your house is a little bit too hot, you can readjust it, okay? You can turn it on, you can turn it off. On and off is really just about being yes and no, okay? Fuck yes, fuck no. Be right with it. And know that there is no true right or wrong on anything. It is just, oh, here comes my little munchkin. Nothing is definitely right or wrong to the rest of the world. It's about what is right or wrong to you, okay? Right or wrong to you. So just get clear on that. Get clear on that. Be a yes, be a no. Do what's right for you. Set that thermostat, and then do the things that you need to do to maintain it moment by moment. I feel like that is a close on that. Again, I do have the Boss Life 500 coming. That launched the other day. That is 4 weeks, January and into the first week of February, where I am. Hey, Steve said hi to you. He said good morning, Gabe. The spot right there. So, it is totally sidetracked there. Did you see how that happened? Thank you, Addison, for posting Boss Life 500. Obviously, I need another cup of coffee to get my brain working on even being able to do a promo. Oh, well. See, I wasn't trying to promo you, but I am trying to promo you at the same time. So Boss Life 500, 4 weeks of intensive one-on-one coaching with me. It does not matter where you're at in this world. I can do the one-on-one coaching with you. Boss Life is all phone-based coaching. So it is phone calls with me. It is intensive work. If you want to get your shit in order and you want to take advantage of having, the one-on-one coaching that I do with my clients, you don't want to have to pay the astronomical fees, as I hear that they are from some people that were bitching me out yesterday. Astronomical fees. Is there really, truly any price that's too high for changing your fucking world and having the life that you want to live? I don't think so, but I pay my mentor a hell of a lot more than people pay me. But, hey, that's the way it is. So just realize that if you want that life change, if you want things to really, really manifest in your life, whether it is your relationship stuff, you want better sex, you want, you know, to build a business, you want to take your business from wherever you're at, and you want to you want to double your income, you want to have that fuck yes freedom-based life, you want to learn, you claim that you know how to manifest, but things aren't manifesting. Let's look into some reasons as to why that is happening to you, okay? That is what January is all about. I want to be able to help you kickstart your year so that you can not just reach for the stars, but actually access the stars and live the life that you deserve in 2019. So check out the link right below there for Boss Life 500, and there's only 10 spots open, of which there's already a couple filled. So make sure that you jump on that if it is of interest at all. And I'm going to save all the other promotional stuff for another moment, another video. So yeah, love you guys. I will catch you tomorrow morning with another Conscious Coffee. As always, stop existing, start living. I will see you then.